Where have I been? So you're probably wondering what happened here. Well, let's just say there's a lot that happened in the past year personally that kind of reshaped how I view a lot of things in life. Someday I might go over that a little more, but I just want to say I'm back and I've got a few video ideas. So what I'm going to show today was filmed about 11 months ago, but I didn't want to just purge the footage and get rid of it. So I kind of want to just go over some of what I was working on and then maybe take you through some present day ideas that I have for the system and what we could do with it going forward. So let's get into it. Z690 Classified. Got the Noctua NHU12S cooler with the FK1 Redux additional fan kit. So I'm doing a Cinebench R23 run right now. The temperature there is showing in the top right of the board. Oh, and what are the scores? Well, it's currently running. I'm going to let this do the full 10-minute test so I can really heat soak this and see CPU packages at 80. I think there's plenty of room here, especially with a KF processor. Even though Cinebench is showing Windows 10, it's Windows 11. You can see it's obviously Windows 11. So after one bench run, we got a score of 23,567 for the multi and 2012 for the CPU single core. Let's see if I can highlight it. The core clocks here, it looks like it hit 5.1 gigahertz, but then it just decided to taper off and hold at 4.4. And it averaged out at 4.4. So, you know, it hit 83 max on the core temp. I'm going to go into the BIOS. Actually, I'm going to maybe install the EVGA Elite. See if I can lock it in there, at least at 5 gigahertz, because that'll improve that score. I bet we could hit 25,000 on R23 when I do that. We're hitting speeds. 5.6 gigahertz. About 85, 87 Celsius. Using the Noctua NHU12S with 2 fans. OC result, it's 5.7 gigahertz at 87 degrees. Okay, I'll apply it, sure. Yeah, why not? Okay, now we're at a toasty 5.7 gigahertz. Let's see what Elite X shows. This ought to be good. Oh yeah, it just straight up adds to 57. It's nice. Let's try with our overclock. It's already hitting 80. And the CPU package is at 100. If that's accurate, let's check this. Yep, CPU temp is 100. Let me stop that, because I don't like that. I don't know why, just something about 100 degrees, it tickles me the wrong way. I bumped it down to 5.6 gigahertz, and then I bumped the E-cores up to 4 gigahertz, so I want to see what that does. I'm a very, very uninformed overclocker. I'm not an overclocker, I'm a human person that does nothing of what he's doing. We're going to see what score it reports. 24,929. That's fabulous. I love it. Almost 25,000. But we hit 100 during that time. I don't like that, so let's bump it down.
One eternity later.
It just keeps getting better. Maximum temp 86, maybe 88 on the CPU package. And 25,679, 2175 single. This is fantastic. It's the only thing higher on it on this list was the Threadripper from several years ago with 32 cores and 64 threads. And this just knocks it out with 20 threads. This is absolutely amazing. The Core i5 i3-13600F. I'm really itching to get this installed. So yeah, let's go after it. I have one of these plates like Bauer recommended. So now we just have the exposed socket here. I'll put that back there. I'm going to place a screw in there, and then I'm going to put this on. It has the arrow on it indicating which direction, just like so. Okay. Making sure they all thread first. Now that's not how we torque this or set this. I just wanted to get the threading started. Start in one corner, back it out till we hear the threads click. There. Then you take it 90 degrees. So after doing the 90 degrees on all four corners, we start over, and I'm going to start doing 180 degrees. I think that's about as even as it's going to get. That apparently seems to be the recommended method. Yes. Cooler has been applied successfully. So I wasn't entirely sure if the Z690 Classified has the external clock generator to be able to do a B clock overclock on non-K Intel processors. Right now I have the i3-12100F in this system, and I want to see if this can do it. I don't really know how to test for an external clock gen, other than to just start overclocking and see what happens. So let's get into it. First things first, I'm just going to do a quick CPU-Z to show you what it is, where it's at, stock clocks, and we'll just do a quick stress here. Okay, so 4100 megahertz, that's the stock with boost, and it kind of comes back a little bit off that. But there have been videos of, actually there's a video by this Luumi guy who's been able to get 5.3 gigahertz out of it. Now, I don't know if I want to go that high, but he was using the Z690 Dark, not the Classified, but the Dark motherboard, the Kingpin one. And that one, he confirmed has the external clock gen. This is the Classified, so I don't know if it has that functionality as well. So we're going to find that out. So let's go into the BIOS now. We're into the BIOS. So if you look down in the bottom right corner, I have the BIOS version 2.12, and I had to update to this, and it was released in March of 23. So this allows me, they stated in that update that there's new B clock overclocking upgrades to the BIOS. I'm not an overclocker, so I have no idea what this all means, but they say that it's more stable and allows booting into the OS, which I had problems doing this before with like version 1.0 BIOSes. I watched Luumi's video, which I'll put down in the description, but he sets this to ratio limit, sets this to 42. Now he did it with a 10300, but the 10100 also works pretty well. Ring ratio 35, AVX2 at 2, AVX5 12 ratio 3. and he went all the way up to 123.82. But I'm just going to do 110 because I know this worked. So I'm just showing this again. And then we'll leave this disabled, and then we'll go mode 2, because if you look over here it says mode 2 V-clock overclocking with elevated 1 to 3x reference clock frequency. V-core we will override, set to 1.35, auto, V-core droop, we're going to do minus 75%, PWM frequency, he did 800. And again, I don't know what these numbers do. 1.260 on the VDDQ, and then 1.9 on the VCC in aux. The rest are set to auto. So on the memory, I currently have the XMP profile because it's DDR5 5600 RAM. And I'm going to leave it there, but when you B-clock overclock, things get faster. Everything gets faster. I'm going to set the memory frequency lower to about 4800. Let's go to 5000. So that's 5500. That's under the 5600. This RAM isn't great. If I go over that, it tends to just not want to work. So the gear mode, I don't know what this does. I'm going to leave it there. VDD at 1.25 I think is fine. I don't change the rest of these. I honestly don't know a lot about timing stuff. So I'm just going to go with the XMP profile and lower the frequency a little bit so it's what my RAM can handle. So I'll save changes, yes. And we'll let it do its reset cycle and we'll check it out. Now you have to be mindful when you do this. It overclocks everything. RAM, we're overclocking the PCIe bus. So the M.2 will also be overclocked. So I had trouble booting because it had like a system recovery on the OS after I did this the first time. So just be aware of that. That's a good sign. Because what he was saying was 103 or 102.9 seems to be the limit when you do a B-clock overclock without an external clock gen. So this basically confirms that it works. But don't just take my word for it. Let's get in here and make sure. Okay, it booted. Now Windows will incorrectly report this, so we got to go back to CPU-Z. Alright, and this is a newer one that doesn't have the AVX512 exposed, it's just showing AVX2. So let's look here, 4509 megahertz, that's much higher. Let's do a little stress here. And we'll check it. 4509. So now we're hitting 4.5 gigahertz on this with the 109.99 bus speed. So that's how you can see too that it actually set. So this is working. This motherboard, the Z690 Classified, can do a B-clock overclock. There's not a lot of information about the Classified. Everybody gets the dark because it's a better deal, I guess. It's better for extreme overclocking. I like this because it's got the 4 DIMM slots and it's a little more flexible. Also, another thing to note, you can get these processors cheap. This is the 12100F without GPU. So you need to have the RTX 3060. But I paid $69. Nice. And it can hit 4.5 gigahertz. You want to see a Cinebench run? Of course you do. Let's see a Cinebench run. I'm going to do Cinebench. Still hitting 4.5. Can't see it, the temp is at 80 degrees right now. with that NHU12S Redux cooler. I don't really dare to go higher than this because I tried going for 119 and I couldn't get it to boot, and I don't know if it was my RAM or if my SSD just can't handle that. And yeah, I really don't want to push this any more than that. With a TDP of 58 watts and how cheap this is for a 4-core 8-thread CPU in Alder Lake, the thing is you have to spend more. This board was $300. The Dark was $500 or $600. It's cheaper now, but yeah, I like this board, and you can update it to 13th gen. I mean, this BIOS can run 13th gen. And there you go. Pulled a 9001. 9001, and that beats out a Ryzen 7 1700X 8-core. And it almost beats a 9880H, which is an 8-core 16-thread. Just crazy. This is the low-end chip beating an i9, almost beating an i9. I bet if I go a little higher, I'll beat the i9. So, yeah. There you go. 12th gen. It's pretty cool. I don't think you do the B-clock overclocking on the 13100s or higher, so, you know, this is the chip to get for budget stuff like this. But again, you have to buy more expensive boards. They just don't do this for the cheaper B-series boards and stuff, so. Okay, quick test of Ryujinx with the overclock. I put the 60 FPS mod in Tears of the Kingdom. This is now at 4.5 gigahertz. As you can see, still doesn't really hold up. Let's do the Ultra Hand. 36. Yeah, it still struggles. 38. The game isn't at the right speed at this FPS, so things are weird. It doesn't feel like the 60 FPS mods for Breath of the Wild, but then again, that was on Cemu, so it's not quite one-to-one comparison how that emulation gets done and how those mods are set up. So yeah, unfortunately, not with the 12100F. It's just not doing it. I'll do my quick test again of RPCS3 with The Last of Us Part 1. Or at that time it was just called The Last of Us. Well, the CPU is pegged out again. As I remember, 90% basically is 100% because of Afterburners reporting it really weird. The temps seem to be accurate, though. Yeah. Same kind of thing, though. Maybe 1 or 2 FPS better. Still not consistent 30, though. So there you have it. That was kind of some of the stuff I did. Got the 13600KF and also had the 12100F, and those are really good chips and really like that. They work really well on this board. Found out some stuff that I didn't know before, that it's got the external clock gen, so being able to do that really put it on par, in my opinion, on the Z690 Dark. But obviously some are going to say that the Dark is still better for like extreme overclocking, and it probably is. But for my purposes and the price I got this at, can't complain. So I've since gotten rid of those two chips, the 13600KF and the 12100F. But I do have a 12600KF that's in it right now. I didn't film any footage of it, but I got that for about $150 from Facebook Marketplace. So really thrilled with how that turned out. A lot of the past year I've spent time just kind of consolidating and getting rid of extra things, trying to downsize and kind of recoup some costs. But anyway, just wanted to get this video out there and let you know that there's probably going to be a few more kind of like this as I kind of go through my footage that I filmed from about a year ago and just kind of getting this stuff out. I've got some consoles that I'm going to cover, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. God bless.